15 was when I heard the Mahamantra without any information, and I didn't repeat it, just listened. And then that same year, I decided within myself, I decided to devote all my love, romantic love, to God. And I had no idea about bhakti or anything. And I was just love, because you can surrender more and more. And I feel like it helped me, surrender more, in that when some problem arises, I'm not just like, oh, what am I going to do? I'm just thinking, just Krishna, and I'm safe. Krishna is in control of everything. And if we have faith in him, it doesn't matter what happens. Read all the scriptures if you want, or do read the Bible, read this book, read that book, and then read the Bhagavad-gita and see which one makes sense to you, which one has the full information about God, because it really, it's so detailed and specific about what to do that you really, you can't mess that up if you follow it. And I lost very friends over that too, unfortunately. One of them, in fact, was trying to invite me to go to bars and things, and I said, I'm sorry, but I don't do those things with what I'm practicing. And I invited her to go somewhere else, not the temple, but like the beach or something, and she didn't want it, and I didn't hear from her again. So that's it's okay.
So hello viewers, welcome to our channel Spiritual Talk by TT. I am thrilled to have a very special guest with us today, Michelle, and popularly known as in devotion word Bhaktin Michelle. She is a devotee soul associated with ISKCON in the USA. Beyond her spiritual journey, Michelle has also made her mark in the hotel industry, showcasing her passions for service and dedication to her professions. Today we are blessed to have Michelle share with us her inspiring story of spiritual awakening and Krishna conscious journey. Her experience, challenges, and transformative moment will surely touch our heart and ignite a deeper understanding of the spiritual path. So without any further delay, let me warmly welcome Michelle, Hare Krishna, as she enlightened us with her divine journey and the profound impact it has had on her life. Straightway, I would like to ask you, Michelle, the first questions, which is, can you tell us about your early childhood, your educations, your family background? How was your upbringing, basically, so that the devotees can relate their situations?
Sure. Hare Krishna. So I just wanted to make one correction. I'm not in the hotel industry. One of my main job is I'm a caregiver. So it's like a resident assistant in a retirement home. And I definitely do, use Krishna consciousness throughout my job. I mean, it's everything I do it with Krishna in mind, but especially when I'm, taking care of elderly or dying person, it's especially meaningful to apply Krishna consciousness. But yeah, so I grew up Catholic, and I went to Catholic school up through 8th grade, and I was very serious about it. I did have experiences where I believe I was feeling some small ecstasy when with glorification songs, but and I believed very much, and I was so serious that I wanted to be a nun. The principal of the school was a nun, and she was kind of guiding me with that, and I was going to go to Catholic high school even, but I had some difficulties in my life that took me to California, so my life changed at that point. And then I kind of, unfortunately, went into just sort of like an impersonal, new age kind of spirituality for a long time. But when I was a kid, even though I was, studying Catholicism, I was open-minded to all world religions, and I was reading books. And I cannot remember what book it was. It was kind of a generalized book on world religions, but it had a, Hinduism and reincarnation and all these different beliefs that I felt were applicable to my life, even at that age, maybe around 10 or so when I got that book. I've always had kind of some sort of memories of past lives, or I believed they were past lives. So that really resonated with me, where it didn't, fit into the Catholic teachings. So, and also about, God being complete, God being love and compassionate. So it didn't settle well with me that, if God is all loving, why would we, the Catholics say you could just go to hell. So there were a lot of discrepancies, and that kind of made, I think, me disconnect from it when I moved to California. And then in, I guess I considered myself sort of new age, but I did actually get the fortunate opportunity of eating prasad in 2002. A friend who was vegetarian, not a devotee or anything, we were Beatle fans. So, she said, well, George, he was into the Hare Krishnas, and they have restaurants. And we went to Laguna Beach. At that time, they had sort of a restaurant in the lobby. I didn't see the temple room, but I ate the prasad. And I remember asking her, do you think they drugged this? Because I felt something. And he said, oh, no, they wouldn't do that. And I don't know, maybe like in 2012, another opportunity, some other person, oddly enough, invited me to go to Govinda's, but in LA. So that was more of a formal restaurant, and I had the prasad, and but I didn't go into the temple, and that person was not a devotee either. But it was just mercy, that got me there, and slowly it worked on me. Someone I was discussing spiritual, what spiritual churches, temples have you been to? And he was saying, oh, this. And then he went to and he told me the Mahamantra. He wasn't a devotee. He didn't necessarily even chant, but in telling me that he's been there and saying the mantra, I believe that's really also what sped up this process for me. So the prasad over these years. And then 2015 was when I heard the Mahamantra without any information, and I didn't repeat it, just listened. And then that same year, I decided within myself, I decided to devote all my love, romantic love, to God. And I had no idea about bhakti or anything. And I was just how I did that was I would sing love songs, just regular love songs to God. Didn't know who he was or anything, but I felt that I got signs the next day and after that. So then it was 2020 in the pandemic, and it was, awful time. I wasn't working at that time because the pandemic laid me off, and I was on Facebook, and I was having some other hard time about something. And I said, could you pray for me? Anybody who would like to, I appreciate it. And I don't know where he came from, some wonderful mercy. But a monk, brahmachari from LA, ISKCON, was there. And he was like, oh, I know what can help you. And because it was the pandemic, I received so much mercy. He didn't, they weren't going out at that time. The temples were closed. So he was so kind to chant with me 2 hours every day, and then read to me book after book, 7 hours a day for 7 months. So that was my introduction to Krishna consciousness. But I think that all those times, in my life, like when I think back, it just was leading to that moment. So, and there were others too, many others.
Okay, great. So you are saying in 2002, when you almost it is 23 years before, and you had your first prasadam.
Yes.
And in 2012, you started connecting with the Krishna conscious temple, you going temple, having prasadam, and that kind of environment you start interacting with.
It was just the prasadam, because it was, the people that invited me weren't devotees, and we didn't go into the temples. We just ate in LA, Govinda's was just the restaurant building separate.
Hmm.
from the temple. And then in Laguna, the temple doors were closed and it was just in the hallway, like a steam table set up. So I
Okay.
didn't see I didn't have darshan. I didn't have any association other than the brahmacharis giving me the food,
Yeah.
the prasad. So I was, it slowly was working on me inside. And then I think when I heard the Maha Mantra in 2015, it must have awakened it, because that same year was when I was practicing in a subtle level, bhakti, just devoting my love or romantic love to God. That was it.
Okay. So 2020 actively you get into this complete Mahamantra jap and all. So
Yes,
how
yes.
many malas? It's 16 now you started?
Oh yeah, since August 12th, 2020, I've been doing 16 rounds. It was on the phone with him. I didn't have a japa mala at that time.
Yeah.
He got one for me. I picked it up like 2 months after that, but we were just chanting on the phone. That's how I started.
Yeah. Great. So going to the next question, how was the family environment concerning religious and spiritual practices during your upbringing? I mean, as you said,
Uh-huh.
you born in a Catholic family, and initially, of course, you have the Catholic influences. But how was the that doesn't matter in which religion, but how was the atmosphere there related to religion, spirituality, and what kind of influence you have during that time?
Well, my family, my mother was religious. I mean, she's religious, Catholic, um, and my grandmother. But apart from that, that was it. And yeah, my mother gave me the religious, the Bible, obviously, and all the little books, the prayer books and things from early age. I was baptized. I was the Catholic initiation, which is called confirmation. I took that. Um, yeah, I was so serious, like I said, that I wanted to be a nun, but it wasn't so much about my family's influence on me, although of course that they set it up. My mother set the foundation, but it was more the experiences I was having, like I was saying, the subtle kind of ecstasy. Like it would happen, there was a certain song, it was a glorification song that they would sing, and we would sing after receiving the communion, the sanctified offering. And I would just cry, but it wasn't like a sad cry. It was like a relief, a peace, and a happiness. And it would only last a few seconds. And I think that's probably what it is. Because now with Krishna consciousness, I still experience that, but on a 1,000-time level, joyous level. So,
Yeah.
but I think that, the environment of just sending me to the school, for instance, reading the books, that definitely was influential, setting me up for that foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is actually make the difference. If you have, as you said, your mother is and your grandmother is religious, and they can understand that, and obviously the kind of environment you will get it around you while is your upbringing is happening. So obviously that will impact it. So that's the reason probably you are on this path now. So,
Definitely.
yeah. So the next question, which I would like to ask, anyway, you told me that almost 2015 or 2020 actively you started. Uh,
20.
uh, in coming into the Krishna conscious, what is the motivated you to embrace this spiritual path?
Well, first it was, I mean, at the time it was just to end my suffering. I was really suffering, and I was depressed about some things that were happening, and I just asked for prayers to help me feel better. So that was really the motivation. It was just to feel better. But I mean, I've always, wanted to grow on the spiritual path, in whatever path I was in. I was always trying to do that because of love, just trying to love God, and know him and love him. But I just didn't have the opportunity to really do that in the other books, which don't have really any information about God himself. They have about Jesus and, basic good information about moral life. But like I was telling you, that there were contradictions, about the whole, the concept of karma. They do have a basic, do unto others, but they don't explain that as far as, reactions, karmic reactions. They don't believe that. So, you know, my confusion, I think, led me out of it, but my wanting to know and love God was what drew me into it. But with Krishna consciousness, when I started, it was purely just because I was hurting. And he said that it will make me feel better. And it's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you said when you feel that you should get into this path, that time you were feeling some stress or either some depression. I will not ask what was that, but I would like to know during that depression and stress when you start towards the Krishna conscious, how long you been there, and after that you feel started good, or you come out from the stress or the depressions?
Sure. I felt something right away the first day after the first, well, it was like a 7-hour phone call. So we chanted 2 hours first, and then it was reading. So I was very excited about it. I mean, so I felt relief right away. Yeah. Um, but and then the more we did, the more chanting, the more reading, uh, the happier I felt. And the only thing is that it's hard, like when our material problems happen, it's really hard well, I mean, we have to deal with it, but when we're applying Krishna consciousness and understanding why all this is happening, it's definitely easier to tolerate and deal with. But when there's a lot happening all at once, it's very hard. And I was subjected to extreme things happening all at once last year, which definitely shook me, but it didn't change me, as far as like, it just, well, it changed me in that it made me more firm in Krishna consciousness, because I realized that when I was distracting myself on these accumulation of problems all at once, which are really difficult, I wasn't thinking of Krishna, and that was why I was getting affected. Where I was starting to feel a little bad again. So then I just switched it up. Oh yeah, Krishna. And then I just focused on Krishna. And in fact, it was kind of like, I feel a test of, or lesson in not just tolerating, but in my surrender. I felt like in a way, surrendering is, maybe it's in a way kind of boundless, like love, because you can surrender more and more. And I feel like it helped me, surrender more, in that when some problem arises, I'm not just like, oh, what am I going to do? I'm just thinking, just Krishna, and I'm safe. Krishna is in control of everything. And if we have faith in him, it doesn't matter what happens. So, but yeah, anybody can try it and test it for themselves. It really does work. And I love, sharing that with people because of how it affected, and helped me every day. Even if my life, things are really going bad, every day is still the best day of my life in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Doesn't matter what's happening. It's like, those are just temporary things that we can get through. But so yeah, you can see it if you try. I tell people, try it for a week to start out with, like, even if it's 10 minutes a day, and at the end of the week, see how you feel, or keep a diary too of every day, write your feelings, reflections. It definitely makes a big difference. And I wish everybody would try it, because they would see happy. Yeah.
So that is also the reality, is in our day-to-day life, we cannot avoid the situations comes up.
Yeah.
Ups and downs will come in your life.
Yes.
That's how this universe works. And these devotions or Krishna conscious, or whatever the methodology human follow, but that of course gives you that strength and the power where you can fight with these situations which comes in your life, and easily you can come out of it. So this is the example, and it is the practicality example you had given in your life. So that is a great. So the next question which I would like to know, that you are putting the tilak and this entire attire of a devotee. So when you use this, you put this tilak and all every day, right? You go the same way to work and everything in society and all, right?
Yes.
So
Yes. They ask me.
So the question is, how do your friend, your relative, and people around you view your association with Krishna conscious. In terms of that, uh, I speak a lot of other devotees as well. So what they share that initially when you walk this path, anyway you are in your maintaining your life and family and your work, your profession, everything, and along with that you are doing it, but
Mhm.
still how supportive your uh, circumstances, your family, your relative, and your friends, how they look at you on this path you are walking.
When I first started, I think it was, people were a little bit surprised, or thought it was strange, but and I lost some friends over that too, unfortunately. One of them, in fact, was trying to invite me to go to, like bars and things. And I said, I'm sorry, but I don't do those things with, what I'm practicing. And I invited her to go somewhere else, not the temple, but like the beach or something. And she didn't want it. And I didn't hear from her again. So that's, it's okay. It's, if people don't want to accept me, for who I am, then, it's okay. But yeah, I mean, it's been a mixture, definitely. I think that right now it's pretty what I have as, as far as family. It's supportive mostly, but not 100%. And then when I go out, I love when people ask me outside, because I can preach to them, and so it's kind of one of my preaching, you know, items, just the devotional clothing, because people will come up to me.
Yeah.
I also have a Krishna tattoo, and that's another item that, like at work when I'm wearing a uniform, and the tilak is usually dissipated at that time because I work overnight. But my tattoo is there, and they always frequently ask me, "Who is that?" So I
Okay.
get to tell them.
Okay, great. So anyway, that is good part, that your family at least supports you on that. So that is
Mhm.
important. That is the main strength which around you. But that is also a practical things, because you have relative, you have friends, you have society. So that is also important. But nowadays, it's not like people are in Western world also getting and understanding the spirituality importance in their life,
Mhm.
specifically the time when COVID was there.
Yeah.
And it is beyond the scientific and the medical equipments and medical facility and the medical infrastructure what any country used to have it. After that it choked, and uh, this is the only thing which gives the strength to the people to stay calm and cool and face the situation, and successfully they come out. And there are a lot of other things which they have started following, yoga and meditations and lot of things which gives the strength. So that is good that the Western world now it is slowly getting into this. So
Mhm.
going to the next questions, Michelle, the next question is which how do you define the spirituality for a common persons, and how has it positively impacted uh, anyone's day-to-day life? I mean, not to a theoretical way of spirituality, but I think spirituality helps in our day-to-day activity as well, what we do. So how do you see that, and how do you will define that for a common man?
Um, as far as practical spirituality, like when you're interacting with people, because otherwise, I tell people all the time, and I was confused about it too with like reincarnation. So I tell people, that the main cause of our problems and suffering is bodily identification. So uh, a lot of people I preach to are New Age, because I have them on my Facebook when I used to be New Age, and they have the general concept. They believe in reincarnation, but they just don't understand that it's, something that is continuous and eternal until we surrender to Krishna. But yeah, I mean, so I would just be preaching to them in those terms, mostly on bodily identification. That's the problem, where we're disconnecting from spirituality. We're the soul, and so to be spiritual is to identify as a soul and connect with the the doings of the nature of the soul. So but practically just in, yeah, applying Krishna consciousness, which is for me, seeing Krishna in everybody, in every living being, not eating meat, letting animals who are souls live, being kind to people, even people that are mean or whatever, just being kind to them, and tolerating, being humble, trying to be humble, and doing, things in the mode of goodness to help people. That's, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, spirituality is more about the your inner identification of yourself. Actually, it's
Hmm.
nothing about the word. That's what I understood, and it's about to understand yourself. Your
Yeah, as a soul, and how we're all connected as souls who are eternal servants of Krishna, for sure. Yeah, and then working together to serve him is what we have to do. So by being, loving to others, then we can show them that example, working together.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, the next question which I would like to ask, could you share some of activities you regularly engage in as a part of your Krishna conscious practices? I mean,
Sure.
yeah,
Well, chanting, of course, is like the main one. And then I love deity worship, so I have deities, and I that's my favorite part of the day, besides chanting, and chanting also on Facebook with my guru. He does a live broadcast. But yeah, so deity worship, I spend many hours every day, like 4 hours minimum a day, serving them. And I love, yeah, going to do book distribution. Um, that's my other main service. I also twice a month help with cooking the Sunday feast, or helping to cook the Sunday feast in San Diego, ISKCON. And yeah, I mean, I love preaching. So if I'm not out doing those things, then I'm home, maybe on Facebook, or, preaching on social media.
okay,
That's pretty much, my activities.
okay, okay, all right.
Going
And
to the temple.
oh, okay. So, another question, as you said, you are interact with your guru as well. So, are you tell me something about who is the guru, your guru, and where he is? He is in US, or he is in other
Uh-huh.
part of the world, and how has their guidance influenced your spiritual journey?
My spiritual master is His Holiness Giriraj Swami, and
Giriraj Swami. What is the name? Is
yes,
Giriraj? Okay.
Giriraj Swami, yes, and he's based in Santa Barbara, Carpinteria, but he was the uh, temple president. He went through the foundation of that temple. He has a wonderful book called "I'll Build You a Temple: The Juhu Story."
Okay.
So he lived in India for 30 years, I believe it was. But yeah, he's based in California. Yeah.
Okay.
And gosh, yeah, he's I could go on talking about him for hours, but he's amazing. His presence is he's so empowered. When I first met him, I was just stunned, because there were people that were just crying, like, and I didn't understand what was going on, but I definitely felt something, just even being in his presence. But when I went home after that, I started crying. I didn't understand it. Like, he's so empowered. It's just that and Prabhupada too. The connection with Prabhupada is so beautiful, and so powerful with him, that just by his shelter, my love for Prabhupada has grown, for Krishna, for the service, doing all the services that I do, and the purification really has been profound. I mean, in the beginning, even though, like, when I think about my mentality at the time, like maybe a year ago, it didn't seem that different to me. I thought that I was doing, I was being purified. But when I look back now, like maybe even on photos, I think, yeah, it was early in the purification, because I mean, to see the difference in photos is profound, but also in the way that I can handle myself. He taught me so much about, well, everything, but tolerating. He helped me tremendously with his instruction, and also his prayers, and just his his helping me just by listening, being so kind to guide me. All of that has helped me profoundly in understanding and practicing, like tolerating, and also just being accelerating more with the seva and Krishna consciousness in general. So yeah, he's really he's helping me so much. He's wonderful.
And you said he is now in India from last 30 years, you said.
No, he's in California, in
He's
Ventura.
California. Okay.
Yeah, but he was in India for a long time, for maybe 30 years or more. He the Bombay, the Juhu ISKCON. Yeah, he was the temple president, and also he was he founded that temple. I mean, he and other devotees sacrificed so much and were attacked by police. They were trying to take it down. So yeah, he's amazing.
Okay. So California temple, you are saying? ISKCON temple, California.
Oh, ISKCON temple, which one?
You are saying he made or
oh, Juhu. That was him.
Mumbai.
Juhu. Yeah,
Mumbai.
The Juhu temple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Juhu, Mumbai. Okay. In India.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Because that is when you walk spirituality or something, these devotions and all, you need somebody who guide you. Actually, it's very difficult to otherwise. Very difficult. A lot of questions will come, lot of things will come in front of you where you need some answer. So 100% you would require somebody who can guide you. So that is good. Now next question is, can you explain the various ISKCON activities happening in your area and the impact they have on the community or the society, local society?
Sure. Well, we have, the temples have lots of programs, like, every week, like, for instance, San Diego ISKCON has on Thursdays, Krishna Lounge, which is like an informal gathering, for people that want to inquire about God, and they do kirtan, and they give out prasad too. So yeah, that's a wonderful program, and it attracts a lot of people who maybe are a little intimidated by, to go to the program, the feast maybe, and then they get a casual kind of encounter with going to the lounge. I think that's really wonderful, and we need more programs like, throughout the week like that. But yeah, there's like the festivals. The big one that's coming up for LA is the Rath Yatra. We've had Rath Yatras for some of the other temples, but this is, one of the big ones this is the big one for this coast. So that's coming up very soon, next month. And yeah, that impacts so many people that just even, Prabhupada said, even if someone is just happens to see Jagannath, but if they dance or if they chant, in front of the cart, then this is a special mercy for them at the end of their life, that they'll see that image of Jagannath and he'll save them. But yeah, I think it's profound with the prasad distribution, which is what I usually help out with at the event, and the chanting, and then the darshan. It's Jagannath himself is incredible, but it attracts so many people. It's a huge event, so that's probably the biggest one, I think, that draws people.
Yeah. Okay, great. And in COVID, I have seen in many countries, even in here in Norway, Oslo. I am in Oslo, and here also we have not that proper temple, but it's a ISKCON. We have created enough apartment at the moment. Probably it will be expand, and because building a temple is required a lot of infrastructure and lot of things in the country, so that they are working on. But I have seen during COVID in India, specifically in like India, where disaster was big, to look at the proportion of the population there, and infrastructure was not that much equipped, I would say, because the population is too much. It's not a small country. Right? Now it is 1.4 billion, population. So that time ISKCON has like society and temples has done a very remarkable help to the people, and they serve the food, they serve the oxygen cylinder. I heard when people were struggling for oxygens
Oh,
during their hard time. So they have done a very fantastic job in India, because I have a lot of those uh, friend who their family and relative were struggling for oxygen, and then ESKCON nearby temple mobilized those oxygen cylinder.
wow.
So that kind of impact ESKCON has created, and during that hard time. So this is the how basically this ecosystem and the get benefited what we learned from the Krishna and Gita, right? So going
Yes.
to the next question, little bit interesting question now, which I would like to ask. Um, have you how many time, I think you must have visited India, right? And
Not yet.
not yet.
not
Oh,
not yet.
okay, okay. So this your attire, if I am looking sari, and you have put, this is, we call it the mang, actually sindoor.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So how that I mean, you got married any Indian
I got married to a devotee. Yeah.
okay,
He's in Peru. I'm waiting for his immigration.
okay.
We got married in Chosica, ISKCON in Peru.
Where is in India, you said?
No, it's Peru.
Peru, okay.
Peru,
Peru,
South
okay.
America.
South
South America,
America,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, there's ISKCON Chosica there. We got married last October.
Oh, okay. And he's basically from India, or
No, he's Peruvian, but he's a
Peruvian?
devotee.
Oh, he is a
Yeah,
devotee. Okay,
yeah.
okay. All right. But your attire looks me that Indian, so that's what I asked this question. Okay.
Yes.
So
Devotional.
yeah. Okay. So in India, I think you must visit. There are in Brindaban and
I'd love to. Yes.
Barsana and Mayapur, and these are the places where you will feel that uh, devotions and divine
Oh,
act.
yeah,
So
we look forward to going. I'm thinking I'll wait for him to come immigrate here, and then we'll go together. Maybe
right.
the year after next.
Yeah.
That would be.
So you are most welcome. If I am there, I will try to host you there, or if I
Thank
am
you.
not
Thank you.
there, yeah. So now my next question is, I don't know how many people you met in India, Indian people or Indian originated people. Do you see any difference in terms of following spirituality with the Indian origin people or the Western world people? So do you see any difference?
Well, with devotees, it's yeah. I mean, they're pretty much at the temples. They're the same, whether they're Indian or Caucasian, or Asian, or Hispanic. It's because we're there for Krishna, and if we're following the Bhagavad-gita and Prabhupada, it doesn't matter what our body, what designation, what ethnicity. But yeah, I mean, they don't appear different to me. Everybody is vegetarian. Everybody worships with them, the deities. Everybody chants kirtan, so it's the same.
Yeah, it's same, absolutely. But the thing is, maybe the what I feel that in Western world, if anybody is following Krishna conscious or the Gita knowledge, spirituality, either he or she will get into deep. They will not be on the top, on the 25 feet, 1,000 feet above, but they will get into the deep. But in India, it is more people take it as a religion, basically, rather than to use the spirituality in their family. So, but in their day-to-day life, but still you will see the essence of spirituality in India very good, because maximum Hindu communities you will see by birth they get these culture to
Oh
have
yes, that's so fortunate.
yeah. So it's not about only the faith, it's about the conviction, basically. So there is a difference between faith and conviction. So you will see Indian origin people will have a conviction of Krishna is there some God is there, and we should
Yeah.
worship daily. So that kind of conviction is there. So that's the reason I thought I will ask this question.
Sure. Yeah, I understand what you're saying completely. They're so fortunate. Anybody that is raised with Krishna consciousness is so fortunate. But it depends. I mean, it depends on the individual soul's beliefs because, or, you know, devotion, because you can have not just devotees, but any religion. You can have people who are, attending and doing what they're supposed to do, but maybe they only practice it a little bit, and some people do it 24 hours, some people do it half the day. I mean, everybody's at different stages. It doesn't matter what culture they're from, but it definitely helps
Yeah.
when you're raised in it. But like I was telling you before, like for me, I was raised with Catholicism, but I didn't have the firm belief until I experienced God in my heart myself, when I was feeling that kind of little level of ecstasy. And I think for a lot of people, it's kind of like just an automatic thing that you just do because that's what you're raised to do, or that's what you're supposed to do. But so there's the difference of like, this is what I'm supposed to do, which is good. We should have that.
Yeah.
But then there's I love God. I love my spiritual master. I love, where Prabhupada. So I want to do more and more. It's not because this is what I have to do. It's because I love doing it. I think that's the difference with bhakti in general for people,
Yeah.
is that it just sets your heart like with this beautiful like determination that you enjoy, that you just want to go do more and more. But maybe for some people, if they don't, do that, what the duty that they're supposed to do enough, maybe they are a little lax in it. Maybe they don't catch that energy of, okay, it's just like I was telling you with people who start chanting, if they don't do it with an open mind and willingness to, to experience something, then it can just become like an automatic thing. Eventually they get purified, or they get benefit, but you have to have that kind of submissive, open mind, like you're ready to experience God or serve God, rather than, okay, I have to do this, so I'm just going to do it. It's more like setting it alight in your heart, I think, which is so important.
Yeah.
And I wish I had found this or been, that would have been amazing, being raised in it. But I always say my only regret in life is not finding this years ago, like when I first had the prasad, at least, in 2002. So yeah, but I guess Krishna has his timing for us all.
Absolutely. 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 Okay, so I am just ending up with almost my all question is over, but still I will ask one or two questions.
Sure.
My next question is, have you read the Bhagavad-gita? And if you have read, then can you share two key learning from that have significantly influenced your day-to-day life? Any two
Yes,
learning?
I still study it. And I think that it's starting to make more sense to me in this rather than the first year, because I don't know. I think that they say when you're the more you chant, the longer you chant, the more that the scriptures can be more easier for you to apply and understand. And I think that's with me. But yeah, I mean, in general, I think the best thing for me is knowing that Krishna, when we surrender, like that sloka that says, abandon all religions and just surrender unto me, and I'll protect you from all sinful reactions. That's my favorite one, because it's the promise of being with him, that liberation, not just liberation from transmigration of the soul, but to actually be with God and that loving relationship in Goloka, Vrindavan, his world. That but also the that he's helping us in this life by taking charge of us when we surrender. So that gives a sense of protection, and safety and all that too. So I love that one. And that it's so simple, it's not complicated, that you just have to surrender. That's such a simple thing to do, easy in this age. Apart from that, yeah, offerings, like, a lot of people love that famous one about what you can offer. to Krishna. If one offers me water, a leaf, a flower, I'll accept it. So, because that's so important for the day to day, we have to, everything that we eat, we offer to Krishna. It's so straightforward. I tell people this is like the handbook on life. I mean, it's so detailed with telling you, for instance, what you can eat, what mode the food is in, for instance, the process of just living and the process of going home. It's so it's the science of God, the science of the soul. So, but yeah, I would say those two are my favorite, but every day it seems like I find something new in the Gita and I'm like, oh, I like this one. So it's a
Yeah.
treasure. Yeah. It's a treasure every day to look at, study.
Yeah, it's everything is there in Gita actually. You can see everything. Not only but you given some key pointers that is really help. Like one is you surrender everything to the Krishna and forget about everything. Do your actions karma, but don't wait for any outcome or the result of it. It automatically turn into the best.
Yes.
That is the best learning. And my next question is how this is getting benefited with your current professions. You said what is exactly you do in your day to day your professions?
Yeah. I full-time, I'm a caregiver for elderly people in a retirement home, a facility.
Okay.
Yeah. And my other job is I do psychic readings, tarot readings at home.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I apply it first that I treat everyone that I work with or serve, as Krishna. Like that's my intention for the day, but it's also in the moment when I'm doing the work. I think of the person, for instance, like if I'm washing, an elderly person, in my mind, I'm thinking this is Krishna and I'm doing it. So it's like, and I got to chill as I said that, it gives me a lot more joy doing it that way. I love helping people, but doing it in that way, it really gives me so much pleasure. So and then, giving the, Krishna to them, and if they ask about my tattoo, it's a big one in Krishna. So that I can give them Krishna, the holy names, even though we're not really supposed to do that stuff. If they ask me, it's okay. So they ask me, and then I tell them. Or frequently, if they don't mention it, or they're just they'll often say, I don't know what it is, but I just really feel good when you're around. And I think it's Krishna, because when I'm not helping them, if I'm waiting, like, because I'm overnight, so I wait around a lot, I'm chanting, doing japa. So I think that even just doing that around them, it helps, obviously. Even if they can't hear it, it's helping them. Yeah. So, and then my other job, I just preach to people. I tell them, these are the problems you're looking to solve. Let's really fix this. And I tell them about Mahamantra and Krishna. So I just try to I apply Krishna consciousness and use it in every aspect of my life and implement it in whatever, any conversations that I can.
Yeah. And those this is, you said, retirement homes, and all are mostly the retired people, right? Old people.
Yes, 65 and older.
65
It's
and older.
generally like 70s, 80s, and 90s, and some of them are on hospice. Some of them are just healthy. I mean, some of them are okay and need minimal assistance, and some are dying or very sick. So it's kind of a mixture of different people that I help in different ways. Yeah.
But you are doing a great job, actually. That's
Thank you.
I pointedly asked this question because I was first of all, I apologies for that. I mentioned your profession as a hotel industry.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry about that, because
no problem.
yeah. So, but to the viewers as well. So she is working in a old homage retirement homes, you call it, and she is serving to the old age people, as she is saying that 70, 80, 90, and people are suffering with some medical health problems and lot of other. And the most thing what you said, which I feel, that you said they told sometime that they feel good when you around there. So
Yeah.
that your bhakti energy
Mhm.
get some good feel. And I understand that in retirement home they feel sometimes loneliness, they feel
Yeah.
sometimes stress because of their young age. They enjoy their life with friends and relatives,
Right.
kids and all. Now they are struggling where either they are alone or either maybe somebody but not giving any attention. So that time they need somebody who share the emotions basically. So it's an
Mhm.
emotional therapy. So I
Yeah.
think better than a Krishna bhakta or devotees can do that job. I
Yeah.
salute your job,
Oh,
but you are
thank you.
doing it, and 100% I feel that that energy which those old age people are getting from you, it it's 100% giving them some healing. That I
Yeah.
truly believe.
Thanks. Yeah,
So
Krishna is definitely helping them, I think.
yeah, absolutely. And this is the first from the Gita. I feel selfness in Gita. We said right. You feel some do whatever selflessly you are doing for society to
Mhm.
to get anything come out of that what you are doing it, and just do your job for the
Yeah.
society, for the humanity, for the people, these kind of old age people, even the your hospital services and warriors during the corona days, right? They did fantastic job during that time, so I hats off with you that you are doing a great job.
Oh, thank you.
So
But
finally, last my
sorry.
one last question to you: do you have any special message which you want to give my viewers and the Krishna devotees who are on their own spiritual journey?
Yeah. Well, the purpose, a lot of people wonder what the purpose of life is. And it is about realizing who we are, a soul, and who the Supreme Soul is. And that even if, you're not really sure about that, to just, be open-minded to read about it and see what you think. And I actually, one of my favorite online preachers, Janu Das, he often says that if read all the scriptures if you want, like, or do a read the Bible, read this book, read that book, and then read the Bhagavad-gita and see which one makes sense to you, which one has like the full information about God, because it really it's so detailed and specific about what to do that you really you can't mess that up if you follow it. It's very clear and very instructive, and it makes so much sense. That people that are wondering, well, what is the point of all this? If you read that, it will make complete sense to you. And not only that, you will have the clear instructions of how to navigate life and how to exit the reincarnation cycle.
Great. So it's a great
And chant
message.
the Maha Mantra along with it because it'll make you happy.
Yeah, absolutely. So ultimately is peace and happiness everybody wants. So that is we need to fulfill. So that's it, the conclusion of today. As we conclude this uh, enlightening spiritual talk with our wonderful guest Michelle, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to her for sharing her profound journey of Krishna consciousness. Your experiences and insights have undoubtedly left a lasting impact on all of us. And we are truly grateful for your presence here today. To our dear viewers, I hope you found this discussion as enlightening and enriching as I did. Michelle's story serves as a beautiful reminder of the transformative power of spirituality and the significance of walking a path with devotion and selflessness. As we navigate through our own spiritual journey, let us embrace the teachings of Krishna consciousness with an open heart and a steadfast commitment to selfless actions and divine devotions. May we find solace wisdom, and inner peace in our pursuit of the higher truth. Remember, spirituality is not just confined to temples or rituals, it's a way of living that connects us with our inner selves and the world around us. Let's carry the essence of today's talk into our day to day life, nurturing loves, compassions, and sense of purpose in all that we do. Once again, a special thank you to our guest Michelle for being a guiding light on the spiritual journey, and all our viewers. Your continuous support and engagement truly inspire us to bring more meaningful conversation and insight to your screen. Stay tuned for more enlightening discussion on Spiritual Talk by TT. Until then, may the divine grace guide your path, and may you find eternal bliss in your spiritual pursuit. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you.
Thank you.